Silesh, your frame's frozen.
Oh, really?
Your camera is not ready for the late night show.
How about
All right,
now?
it's unstuck. It's unstuck. All
Okay.
right, so as I was saying, welcome to the late night show. I'm your host. Um, so today we're going to talk about world events and how they impact consumer psychology around the world, and we'll try and focus it around India if we remember to do so this time around. I'm Ashish, a management consultant and marketer, and my guest, Sailesh. Do you want to take it away, Silas, or should I introduce you? I know your introduction. You've said it 5 times already.
Are we still really recording this?
Yeah, for sure. So my guest is Sailesh. He trades in financial instruments and he focuses on lending. So without further ado, Sailesh, would you want to introduce us to what you want to talk about today?
Today we're going to talk about what is hot in the market, the Vision Pro, Apple Vision Pro.
Did you watch the WWDC?
Yeah.
So I told myself I was going to go to bed. I was sure I was going to go to bed. But at 10:30 p.m. here in India, when it started, I had it up on my iPad. I copped out.
No,
I watched it for 2 hours. I was sleep deprived. I wanted to go to bed really badly. So
no,
I
I
lay in bed watching it.
watched it that night, but I watched it. But what was the most funny thing was like I was, when they were saying you can record 3D, and 3D video and 3D pictures, right? So I was like, oh, nice, and I was watching something and then read a comment. They were like, imagine you and your kids at birthday party and dad's wearing ski goggles to record everything. It's like the Rick and Morty squanchers. You doing the cyborg photography. I'm not looking at you. I'm taking a picture.
I
That's
was
what.
picturing Daft Punk. I would have just been like, oh, Daft Punk's at my birthday. How cool.
No, that was
No?
hilarious. I was like, anyway, so today we're going to talk about all the advantages of the new technology, how it's going to revolutionize spatial computing.
To clarify, I don't think it's 3D imaging. I mean, you can view your videos and images in a 3D space, but I don't know if they're shooting 3D components necessarily.
No, they have the cameras which are on top of the.
I understand, and those could just be two-dimensional shots that are projected into a 3D space.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that. I mean, if it was a 3D movie, that would revolutionize.
It does have LiDAR to actually depth the gauge.
I understand, but I don't know. Like, unless you have it in writing somewhere, I'm going to wait for clarification.
No,
or
they
until
have
you buy it.
They said you can take 3D pictures, live in the moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
You didn't see the launch of the Vision Pro. They actually have it in the video.
I watched a bunch of videos I watched a bunch of reviews, like MKBHD's review as an example, and a few others. I can't remember the reviewers' names. I don't know if they mentioned 3D imagery, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, so it was in the video. So basically, you can take 3D pictures, and when you wear the Vision Pro on, you can actually live in the moment. Like you can see the 3D, the third dimension. So which is pretty cool. You can actually look it up in the video if you want.
I've just Googled it. Vision Pro is Apple's first 3D camera. All right, yep. So I can see it. You can capture magical spatial photos and spatial videos in 3D.
Written down
All
for
right,
you.
then.
Written down for you.
Written down for me on Apple's website. So this could revolutionize how we shoot movies. What do you think?
So the gaming perspective is actually what comes to my mind when they do the 3D. So you have the screen. You can actually make it however big. So it's basically how much your entire vision can be a size of the screen.
Okay.
Unlike the the computer or the TV you're watching is limited to a space, to the size of the screen. So that actually is completely going to be revolutionary. So it's the gaming perspective. You can have, however, you can have it closer to you. You can go farther away. And the most cool part about it, I personally think why it's a little bit more expensive is they let
Because
you.
of eyesight, obviously.
I mean, that is, you put them on, you're gonna have eye fatigue anyways, regardless. All this tech. So you put them on, and you can see the eyes, and everybody thinks it's transparent. It's not
No,
actually
that's the
transparent.
eyesight. That's what is called eyesight. That's what Apple calls eyesight.
Yeah, sure, eyesight. No, I was thinking, like you're gonna have eye fatigue because of too much of
I
clothes.
don't know about that. That we'll have to figure out. But so yeah, I understand what you're saying with Apple's the way they've built it out. There's a second screen that projects your eyes,
Exactly.
basically.
And
There
they
have
cranked it
been
up with.
mixed reviews of that. There have been mixed reviews of that. People have talked about how, like, it's fantastic. You can interact with people. People can interact with you because they can see your eyes. But there is a perspective on, like, would you really want to pay an extra $300, $400, $500 for that sort of a feature?
I want to put googly eyes.
I mean, my
No, but
perspective.
that is the differentiating part from other ones, right? So your other VR, AR headsets actually don't have the option where you can actually see the person's eyes. So you can
You need a guide
probably,
dog, basically, like if you're walking
yeah,
around a room.
yeah. So like, yeah, you need somebody to hold on to you to walk around. So, but however, this one has like the new sensors. The R1 chip is phenomenal. It has a higher processing capacity, and what makes it completely different from others is lidar. It has a lidar sensor in it.
Okay.
So
How is this revolutionizing?
no,
How is this revolutionizing the industry? Like, why would I want to buy it because of this piece of technology? What does it do?
So I'll tell you three things why you want to buy this. Because first, it has the best of the class eye tracking technology. So you have a bunch of infrared sensors which go onto your the iris location where where the sockets right there, on the inside of the Vision Pro, which actually track your where your eye is moving, so you can actually without
No, we
even.
understand how eye tracking works, but all right. So eye tracking is fantastic, and how does that help?
How does that help? Basically, you don't have to use any haptic sensors. You don't need any extra sensors. Everything is with gestures. So it's simply like the MacBook has all these gestures. Which is easy to you can move windows in between. Everything can be you can use the entire you browse through
I get what you're
different.
saying. So you just pinch and apparently you pinch wherever, like no matter where your hand's positioned, it's going to pick up if your eye is looking at something. I would say, to add to your point, latency is also very, very low. Like the fact that it's got fantastic eye tracking also contributes to overall latency, I think, to an extent. Because you're picking up things and interacting with them pronto. You don't have to wait like with some of the other headsets. So you said
Exactly.
three things. So eye tracking. What are the other two?
The first one is lidar, so it gives you spatial. The lidar actually gives you, so when it gives you a distance, like if the 3D is possible because of lidar. So you can wear this on. You can have an you can take a look how far. Let's say there's a couch in the living room. The lidar will give you a perspective of how far the couch is away from you. That
Okay.
actually a feel in, how, like the immersive technology. It takes you to the full depth of immersive technology with that lidar. First one was the lidar. The second one was the eye tracking. I would say
Okay.
the third one is the gestures.
Okay, if you say so. Now, how does it stack up against HoloLens? Because
HoloLens.
we're talking about mixed reality, Apple's headset. I know they're talking about it in terms of AR, but it felt a little MR-like. And per our last conversation, we elaborated upon AR, VR, and MR. So let's take it away from there. Like a comparative that comes to mind is HoloLens. How does that stack up? That's a $3,000 headset in itself.
So HoloLens still, it still is not that responsive with. I don't think it has gesture control, right? And HoloLens doesn't do gestures. How?
No, I think Apple's first of its kind with the gestures.
Exactly. So that is another thing. HoloLens doesn't have lidar scanning, so it doesn't give you the proper 3D depth. HoloLens doesn't do 3D picture taking. You cannot have. You cannot live in the moment with HoloLens and with 3D.
Okay, just a quick disclaimer, guys. Sailesh does not own any Apple stock, neither do I. So Sailesh and I are not getting paid to promote Apple's Vision Pro. I own Microsoft stock, in fact. So this isn't the best. This isn't the best rendition for my financial interest, but whatever. So you're saying that Apple's Vision Pro revolutionizes the industry because of its eye tracking, because of LiDAR, which helps with depth overall. So you can move around objects within your space. And you said gestures. Gestures are the first of its kind because, as an example, Oculus Rift has those things, those not Wolverine claws. What are they?
The haptic sensor, what do you call the joysticks kind of thing?
Yeah, they have that to interact with their universe.
Almost all of them have. The Meta Quest Pro has those joysticks. The Oculus has it. The HTC Vive has those. I'm not sure about HoloLens. I don't think HoloLens has those. Joysticks. You should know about it. You own Microsoft stock.
A very, very paltry amount, sir. All right, so you can hand tracking in HoloLens 2, HoloLens 2. We've been mispronouncing it all this time.
Yeah, because the game.
Halo, yeah. So Microsoft HoloLens,
Yeah.
HoloLens 2 provides instinctual interactions for authors. You can select and position holograms by using direct touch, just as if they were real objects. Oh, damn. So Apple was not the first company to do this. You can use hand raise, whatever that means, to interact with holograms that are out of reach. So those are hand gestures as well, no?
Sure, but
sure.
I think Apple makes it more, easy with gestures.
I don't know at this point. Like, clearly, we should have taken a look at this before talking about it. But what I can see is, like, I've clicked on images in my search, and I can see that they're outright using similar gestures. I would say that Apple's talked about how quick it is. The reviewers of the Vision Pro talked about how low latency the interactions are. But clearly, HoloLens does practically the same thing. Apple's design, of course, looked fabulous, but yeah, so you now have Apple at $3,500. You have HoloLens at $3,000, and HoloLens has been there for a while. What do you think about the Vision Pro's adoption? Will consumers buy it?
First, it's the diehard Apple fans is going to come in, going to buy it for sure.
You'll have to give an economic definition to diehard Apple fans, because this is a pricey gadget.
Sure, but the like you can say the MacBook Pro. A lot of people buy MacBook Pro, and it's in that same kind of price range for to buy into this. So MacBook, I think it'll run you up to $3,000. So mainstream adoption, it's going to take a little bit while, but I think it will pick up.
So your estimate, so 2024 is when the Vision Pro is expected to launch. The Microsoft HoloLens has sold about 300,000 units, which isn't a small number. MacBook Pro numbers would be around a median of, like, as a rough estimation, per month, you'd have 800,000 to 1.2 million sets sold per Google Bard. So take that with a pinch of salt. But that's the rough estimate. So let's say we're moving about 1 million units across brands. I'm only considering 2 brands right now. I'm not even considering the VR headset. I'm not considering the X-Real and the other headsets that we talked about last time around. So this is definitely a category that's coming up. This is definitely going to be revolutionized, disrupted. What do you think is going to be that rate of, shouldn't say innovation, rate of adoption?
I would say it's like that curve, right? So it's going to take time first. The rate of adoption, I would say the first 1 year, it's just going to be purely Apple customers itself, like people who are already using the Apple ecosystem.
No, I'm talking about the category. Like, if you could address the category as opposed to just Apple. Like, Apple might just have brought in the impetus to explore this category. You're right, $3,500 is a very hefty price to pay. So maybe to begin my exploration of this, I pick a slightly cheaper headset. Like, in comparison to $3,500 and $3,000, I might choose a $400 product, like those X-Real glasses we were talking about, or the Oculus Rift, which is at 300-ish, 300 to 500-ish.
Yeah, I mean, even the Apple thing, you cannot literally put it on and walk outside. X-Real, you can do that. That's the augmented reality thing. It's like sleek, it's easy. You can walk with it.
Why can't I walk around with the Apple headset?
You can. It's pretty cumbersome. You have to carry. You have to carry the battery pack with it. It has an extra battery pack which goes into your pocket. And then like you can walk with it, but it's like you walking with ski glasses on. Imagine you walking on the street.
It's actually not just that. I'll tell you this from experience. I've had my sunglasses scratch up while, like, I was in Portugal. I was driving around along the beach. I was cycling along the beach, and my sunglasses, the glasses developed scratches. And this is a very expensive headset, $3,500. My sunglasses were also very expensive, but not in the range of $3,500.
Imagine the front glass is going to be all scratched up. So
yeah, that's going to be terrible.
Outside the house. So how much of adoption you're going to have it outside the house? Yeah, I understand people are going to buy it to escape reality. It's going to give you a different perspective. Like, you can go into a different location, being at your own place. But how much? Unlike the X-Real, you can wear them and walk outside.
I'm picturing airport security. Like, picture the number of headsets that just have to be carted through. That's going to be a pain.
In that the blue bin, and they're going to scratch your.
Hey, maybe it's not going to cost $3,500. Maybe you just wait next to airport security, and be like, yeah, that's mine.
No, I think Apple's going to come out with Vision, not the Pro version, something cheaper to attract the mainstream. You have the iPhone Pro and the regular.
No, I get that, but I would say that will take some time. Like, if you consider the AirPods Pros and the ones that I've got in my ear right now, and the AirPods Max, they came out in 2019, 2020. An iteration of them only came out in 2023. There are the AirPods, which came out even earlier, and they've come up with an iteration. The AirPods 3 has come out. They haven't come up with like a AirPods Min, or I don't know, like an AirPods SE. That hasn't come out just yet. So there might be categories that Apple is not going to offer. But again, the AirPods aren't very expensive. They're about 12,000 to 16,000 rupees. These were about 24, 25, I don't remember. So, but with a $3,500 set, they might come up with a cheaper unit, but it's going to take a very long time. I don't think it's going to happen in the next couple of years for sure.
For people to, so basically, I would think Apple would do it in such a way that it's like the regular, the Vision, not the Pro one, will be step in the door. So people are gonna buy it, experience it. Once they experience it, have a feel. Now they have an integration with the other Apple products.
No,
then
so
they go buy the Pro.
where I disagree with you there is that I get that that's a viable strategy to sell, but I don't know if you're taking into account cost to manufacture. I think it's a very expensive device, especially considering the R&D that's gone into it. And what I'm seeing is it's going to take a while for them to even consider going for an SE-like model. Like the iPhone SE came out after, I think, 5 or 6 iterations.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be the same thing. It's a new category, right? So it's going to take
Apple
a while.
spent about 500 patents on it. It has about 500 patents on just the Vision Pros. So I think they have about 130 patents on just the the eye motion sensor.
Eyesight. Oh, okay. All right. Eye tracking worth it. Eyesight, I'd just be like, come on, guys.
No, that's just taking a picture of your eyes and putting it on the screen in the front.
Right. So now, what are your thoughts on the 2-hour battery life? Is that going to inhibit people from buying it?
Gaming is gonna get that's gonna pinch gaming. So let's say you're gaming and you want this experience, and then after 2 hours you have to charge it. So it's
movie watching as well, right? Like think about watching one Bollywood movie. Like I think Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum was just a mere 4 hours or 20 hours.
Let me charge it.
So you can plug it in. You can plug it in as well. So you can watch it, but you'd be tethered to a specific spot. They are making a 2-hour, currently they have a 2-hour battery life to the pack that they have. And I'm sure that that's not going to be a challenge. Like you could connect it to something else with a higher battery life.
Yeah, I think you can get those extra battery packs, which is going to all come out once it drops. You go to Best Buy, you have these big packs of batteries for just the Vision Pro.
So Sailesh, a follow-up question. I feel like I'm inciting you towards this, but a follow-up question. What about sustainability? What about the planet? We talked about ESG in our first episode. With so many batteries being manufactured, what about the planet?
Yeah, more cobalt and lithium mining. There's a lot of lithium, which we just found some lithium in India, in Kashmir. So
also in Andhra Pradesh.
That's not lithium. That's rare earth metals. Andhra Pradesh.
Oh, okay.
Rare earth metal. But lithium, we found 5.9 million. So it'll actually help for manufacture, probably in future, Vision Pro in India itself for export. You might see, instead of made in China, you're going to see made in India on Vision Pro, which is...
You should write to Tim Apple.
Tim Apple, yes, definitely.
Hashtag Donald Trump.
Yeah.
A quick aside, what are your thoughts on the fact that you have 1 million candidates running for president right now? But this is normal, isn't it?
That is normal. They all drop out eventually, or...
They're all riding on a little bit of Trump hate, I think.
Yeah, that's I didn't in the Democratic side. I only saw RFK Jr. He's the one, and on Republican side, I've seen a lot of candidates running. Actually, 2 Indians, Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy.
Oh, I didn't know about that. I only knew about DeSantis and Mike Pence, and there was a third. I forget.
Those are the top ones because they have the highest amount of clout. So that's why you.
How do you think Do you think that is going to affect sales in any which way? Like, as an example, Disney came out with a resounding support of the Apple Vision Pro. They were a part of the WWDC announcement. And obviously, DeSantis and Disney have history. Do you think this is going to affect it in any which way, the presidential race?
I don't think so. I don't think it will, because if it's going to be Republicans, they're going to push for manufacture of this product in America, which is, it's impossible. You cannot do it. It's going to be at $7,000 if they manufacture in America. So, because the labor restrictions, you got to pay minimum wage and all that stuff. In India, you don't have all that stuff, right? So, or in China,
you have different rates.
Sure, but you could say different rates. So pricing.
Yeah, I thought I worked minimum wage, no?
Sure. Not the American. No, but the thing is, like, you have to understand, like, it's gonna be way more expensive. Donald Trump always pushed for manufacturing to come back to America. He actually made one of the 4 plants open in America to manufacture in America. So he's actually, where Republicans are gonna, hawkishly gonna push for American manufacturing. So that, other than that, it's not gonna affect Apple in any way.
I mean, unless they need to bring back manufacturing to America, it might not affect them. But I think they quite possibly might. Maybe global distribution, you could still start manufacturing in the likes of India or Indonesia or wherever. Understandable. All right. So far, what have we covered? We've covered what you like about the Vision Pro, what you think is core about the Vision Pro. I would agree, like the fact that hand gestures solve everything is a fantastic plus of the Vision Pro. I think it's like, when I looked at it, my personal use case was like, we trade, right? Like, we trade in the secondary market. Would it be fantastic if we could have multiple screens in front of us? Like, we don't have to refer to we wouldn't be restricted to our screens. We just have multiple windows all around us. We could trade, and we wouldn't have to worry about that. It's like small screens everywhere. You can track as many stocks as you like. That's a fantastic use case. Watching movies, I think, would be a...
How would this affect consumer psychology? Like, the launch of this product?
Look, $3,500 for a trader, I don't think would be a bad price to pay, simply because, like, the advantage of it is you've got better visualization, you are more immersed, it is easier for you to consume it. I mean, like, unless your current setup is just fine for you, like, there is no compulsion, of course. This is a nice to have at the end of the day.
Luxury.
But like, it's a luxury. So it's definitely going to help. Like, I don't have to erect a second screen if I don't have it, or if I don't have the real estate for it. Like, if real estate is an issue for me, I could just buy this headset and it would solve my problems. That's one. In terms of entertainment, I think, considering the Ready Player One movie, I know it was a little dystopian, but considering Ready Player One, that provides you with some insight into what a future with augmented reality, with immersive experiences might turn out to be. I wouldn't mind, like, if you give me immersive experiences and you allow me to watch movies or play games in that sort of an environment, particularly if I was into gaming like I was, say, 10 years ago, I'd go crazy. I'd be thrilled. What other use cases are we talking about? Like, in manufacturing, if manufacturing, you've already seen Google Glasses succeed. We were talking about Google Glasses failing 1 episode back or 2 episodes back because it was ahead of its times. It saw adoption in industries. So for sure, there are industry use cases for the Vision Pro as well. You could have a cheaper headset, of course, but then over time, I think there will be adoption for more premium services. in terms of developing augmented reality services like guerrilla marketing. Once consumers have augmented reality headsets, wearables, let's call them wearables. Once consumers have augmented reality or immersive experience wearables aplenty, once there's critical mass, primarily advertisement is going to shift to that. Marketing communication, brand communication is going to shift to that. There are already a lot of headsets. They're already, like, augmented reality is already taken off. It's going to skyrocket once adoption goes up. I think these are a few ways that you will see business use cases, and these business use cases will obviously also be based on and be drivers of consumer adoption.
What about one thing which came in my mind was how people buy large screen TVs, 8K. I think it's going to cause a dent in those sales because you can
share play. Yeah, share play. You could, like, if my family and I are all wearing these headsets, and we use SharePlay to just connect our Vision Pros,
exactly,
we're sorted.
And another thing is you can actually adjust the size of the screen. You don't have to. You can have a
personalization. Yeah, there's extreme personalization.
It will affect large screen TV sales. So
tell me about, like, what are your thoughts on cinemas? Excuse me. Cinemas. No. Cinemas in general, like cinema halls. I'm sorry, I should have clarified.
The spatial audio, which is coming up with it, with the Vision Pro, is actually they're saying it's actually going to be very, very close to like the cinematic view, because it's it actually comes close to your ear. And another thing is, I think what Apple is doing is going to do that. The transmitting of sound through the bone. So that's what I think is spatial audio.
They have a clear definition of spatial audio right now. But what do you mean by transmitting?
What the definition? What I'm saying is, you can actually, people who are deaf, they have these, implants where they actually implanted on the bone.
Cochlear
cochlear implant is one, and they have this, there's this 3 little bones in your ear, the smallest bones in your ear, and they actually implanted on that. So even if you have a nervous damage, it goes straight into the brain.
So what you're talking about is, I think, something that China had recently written about. I was reading about how China has launched a new cryptocurrency paper, and that is hinting at a comeback for cryptocurrency, or like the end of the crypto winter at least within China. NFTs have always been a big thing, and the NBA took advantage of NFTs. That's definitely going to come back, I think. But they also talked about brain implants there.
That's what it is. So basically, it's like the bone implant. So they put it on the cranium, and they transmit it through the bone. So it's, I understand the spatial audio, but that's where it's going to go into eventually, because you don't have to affect your ears anymore. So because headphones, over a period of time, you keep on using headphones, it actually reduces your hearing ability.
Does this look like the face of a person who knew?
No, I mean, just it's no, it does cause hearing loss, because you have a lot of like sound coming very close to your ear, especially the eardrum. So it causes, I mean, eventually, man, once you touch your 60s and 70s, probably.
Oh, hopefully I don't live that long.
You like, oh man, you're like,
I don't sleep enough anyway, right?
So. Well. Yeah. So to conclude, what did we discuss? What did we discuss till now?
I feel like we talked about quite a bit. We talked about the Vision Pro, the headset in itself. We did a bad comparison with HoloLens, clearly a terrible comparison. So
We just
we
buy
might
it.
want to circle back to that. But so we did a comparison. We talked about some of the use cases focused on entertainment so far. Obviously, we've covered healthcare use cases in the past with immersive tech. There are manufacturing use cases I think we may have touched upon either privately, or I'm hoping on one of the episodes that we've been talking about immersive experiences on. And I think we've also touched upon, when I was talking about the brain implants thing in the crypto, in China's that the crypto paper that was published by China, I was also thinking about how Elon Musk's that brain implant thing that he's working on has now progressed to human trial. So you augment your capabilities either through AI or, like if you are impaired in any which way, if you require accessibility help assistance, then that's another fantastic use case for that. So we touched upon quite a bit. We also talked about adoption, I believe, like when we were talking about the MacBooks, the total number of MacBooks, the total number of HoloLenses, talked about the potential for adoption. Final word on that, in my opinion, I think adoption is going to be just fine. People are going to be curious they are going to want to get their hands on this headset. During the recession, the 2008, 2009 recession, the luxury business in China grew, which indicated, and like when we were looking at psychology, from the psychology angle, people were talking about how individuals in China wanted their neighbors to know that they were still doing fine. They weren't adversely affected by the recession, and therefore were being ostentatious with their spending. LVMH grew specifically.
Yeah.
So I think that. Sorry.
I think the status symbol in China was that they were buying it for the status symbol.
Right. So I think this is going to be, the Vision Pro is going to be another symbol for status. Like you talked about those diehard Apple fans. I'm going to say, forget the diehard Apple fans. Like I talked about the economic incentive, right? People with the money are going to buy. I think people, like just to say that they have money, are going to want to buy this as well. People who are curious about the product, because this is an entirely new category that's been out there and is building up. I think Apple will help people go over the edge and like finally bite the bullet and buy a product.
But I know you are a diehard Apple fan.
Not die hard. But yeah, I'm guilty of having a few Apple products. I don't have the AirPods Max.
Soon, that's going to be the upgrade.
A couple of other headsets instead.
Anyways, it was a fantastic episode.
Sure, like clap your own back, toot your own trumpet. Yeah, it was an amazing episode, guys. Like if we don't see subscriptions from this, I will be shocked.
You got to do that like, comment, subscribe.
At some point in time, right? Might as well.
All right, guys. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. See you on the next podcast. Bye, guys.